It's Christmas this week, getting so excited for the holidays, but I have an important message that I want to share with you. I want you to think about the last decision that you didn't make. Not because you couldn't, but you hesitated, right? Maybe it's the hire that you delayed, the price that you didn't raise. Maybe it's the conversation that you just avoided. If you're honest, it probably wasn't logic that stopped you. It was likely like fear that was disguised as being protective or being responsible. But most of us have been trained, really trained in our minds to ask the same question over and over again, which is, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And today I want to challenge that. So on Friday, a member of my team shared a quote and it just immediately stuck with me. Like one of those moments when everyone kind of just nods at the same time, like, yes, yeah, I feel that. I loved it, right? We all did in my team. And this person, she said, like, this could be our diamond mantra for 2026. And honestly, the second that she said that, I thought immediately, yes, yes. So shout out to Lauren on my team. Um, most people are frankly just asking the wrong question, right? We're trained, almost conditioned to ask, what's the worst that could happen? And listen, that question, it sounds reasonable, right? Like some people would even say that it's the responsible way of thinking. It protects us. But here's what I've seen over and over working with clients. And that question is usually the reason that they stay stuck where they're at, stuck in ever reaching their full potential, stuck in unhappiness. And I sat across from so many med spa owners who have the talent, the demand, the money in the bank, and still wouldn't hire the help, buy the building, buy the device, open the second location. Not because they couldn't, not because they shouldn't, right? But because they were asking, what if I hire the wrong person? What if this doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose? Right? What if I lose control? And while they were protecting themselves from some kind of hypothetical worst case scenario, they were burning out in real time. They were preventing themselves from reaching their full potential. Now, Tony Robbins, one of my gurus that I love to follow, he always says if you want a better answer, you have to ask a better question. If you want a better answer, ask a better question. I think about that often. So, today and moving forward, I want you to practice asking a better question. So instead of what's the worst thing that could happen, how about let's flip that, right? What's the best that could happen? Because that question, it doesn't ignore risk. It just refuses to let fear be the decision maker. Now, I'll tell you this personally that, there were reasons in Diamond where I delayed decisions that I already knew we needed to make, whether that was, new hires, new offers, bigger commitments, right? Not because the data wasn't there, but because I was quietly asking myself, what if this doesn't work? Right? What if this doesn't work out? What if I fail? And every time I finally flipped that question to what's the best that could happen if I trust this, if I lead, everything changed. Everything changed. Momentum changed. Confidence showed up, right? when we ask what's the best that could happen, we show up differently. We stop hesitating. We stop waiting for perfect timing. We stop, playing defense, right? We start playing offense. And you see it in successful people every single day. The ones who grow, they're not reckless, they're decisive, right? They follow through. They let themselves believe that the upside is totally worth it. And that mindset changes how we make decisions, how we communicate, how we take ownership. I think about that, Diamond hasn't grown. It certainly hasn't grown because I've played it safe, right? It grows, has grown, continues to grow because we've taken some really smart swings and then we execute. But no, if we wouldn't have stepped up to the plate to take a swing, like there would have been no chance, no growth, right? So before you continue your scroll on this social channel, I want to leave you with this. And that is to think about the decision that you keep postponing, that you keep putting off, that you frankly keep making excuses for. And I want the move you keep, calling the not the right time to flip, right? And ask yourself honestly instead, what's the best that could happen if I really commit? What's the best that could happen? So, not next quarter, or certainly, not the end of 2026, right? But what's the best that could happen right now, right? Not when things get calm, not when the timing is right, but today, today. So if this hit, drop in the comments, what's that one thing that you've been playing small around? Do you need to hire? Do you need to fire? Right? Do you need to buy that device? Do you need to hire that consultant? Do you need to delegate? Do you need to create and innovate? Do you need to train? Do you need to build culture, right? You don't have to be able to explain it. You don't have to know how you're going to do it today, right? Just name it. Just name it. And, if someone came to mind while you were listening to this, send it to them. They need to hear this as well. Because the real difference, guys, between people who stay stuck, right, and the people that grow, it usually comes down to one question, one better question, which is what's the best thing that could happen? Hope you guys have a Merry Christmas, and I can't wait to tackle